So is there anything that like gets you buzzed?
Um,
Like a caffeine buzz?
Not really.
What?
No, I mean, I don't really drink energy drinks, but they don't. That was always more about cost and taste, less about buzzes.
So how do we get you buzzed?
I don't think you can.
Holy shit, dude. Is this like you've always been this way, guy?
Yeah, kind of.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wow. I don't even know what to say. I don't know if that can't be like real.
Yeah, I mean,
So you're like immune to getting like a caffeine buzz.
seems that way.
I love how you're so like nonchalant by it too. You're like, yeah, it seems that way. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. It's like
I could be one of the few humans on the planet that's immune to caffeine, and
basically.
it's like spreading peanut butter on bread. It's no big deal to this guy.
NBD.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome to Will and Drew's Gaming Retrospective. You're listening to episode 29 for the week of June 16th, 2019. Happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. I'm your host, Drew, and I am joined by Caffeine Rush Will.
What's up, man? Happy Father's Day. We're not fathers, but fuck it. Happy Father's Day.
Listen, man, you have a cat. I have two cats. Somebody would probably say Happy Father's Day to all the cat owners out there. I'm not one of those fucking guys.
You make a good point, though. Like, we are fathers to someone or something, and I think our cats would definitely qualify as children.
Listen, those little assholes wake me up at like 6 o'clock in the morning every day.
Ah,
So, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, they're kids.
yeah, for sure.
But how are you?
I'm well, man. I'm a little overworked, but that's life, and we're both adults, and we're realizing that slowly but surely.
Yep.
And other than that, I need to like get back to some games. So I'm hoping this evening or tomorrow I can delve back into something. What about you,
Dude,
man?
I am exhausted. I have been working a very erratic and like just ridiculous schedule. Very long days, very physical days. And I mean, it's been nice because I've been outdoors a lot. But
Sure.
Roadie life is very
Taxing.
very taxing. Yeah. I was at this festival yesterday, which had some live music and stuff, and it was a really good time. And it was outdoors; it was absolutely beautiful. Had some good food, heard some good music, but I was there. I was on site for 12 hours.
Oof.
So
Yeah, that's a hike.
yeah, man, it sucks. But despite that, I've actually gotten quite a bit of gaming in. I'm really excited to kind of talk to you about some of the games I've been playing. We got a lot to talk about today too, because E3 has wrapped up officially, and we got a list of games that we want to chat about, and I got a mailbag full of questions. There's all kinds of stuff to chat about today, man.
Yeah, for sure. I'm actually kind of excited. I felt very unprepared before the show, and I feel better now. It's just been, so busy for both of us, and I've had a hard time catching up with a lot of the E3 news, but there's a lot of stuff that we have to go over for sure.
Yeah, man. Well, let's get the business out of the way first. We have social media at WDGR Podcast. It's at WDGR Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If somebody would like to follow me, you can find me at Science Storm. Will, how can they find you?
Will_gear.
And don't forget, folks, if you're not already subscribing to us, you can do so through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, or just open up whatever podcast app you prefer. Just do a quick search for Will and Drew, and we'll be there.
Yep, Will and Drew.
Just search for Will and Drew, and we'll find you. I just came up with that on the spot. Isn't that fucking great?
What a great tagline.
I love it. Although maybe it's a little creepy, but
a little bit. But we can let that go.
All right,
It had a good ring to it.
I like it. I gotta remember that. Just search for Will and Drew. We'll find you. Uh, we have a main hub at Libsyn. It's WDGRPodcast.libsyn.com. And of course, you can always drop us a email over at WDGRPodcast@gmail.com. So I'd said all that out of order. I think I pulled it together. I don't think I missed anything.
That's okay. No, I don't think you did.
Yeah, cool. So, yeah, man, have you had an opportunity to play anything lately?
Unfortunately not. I've had a lot of time to, think about gaming and fantasize about playing something, but it's just been kind of a rough week in terms of work and just, being busy with a lot of things that are non-gaming related.
Yeah.
But I'm not too worried about it. Like I said, I see all of that as a treasure chest, so I'll get there when I get there.
Cool.
What about you?
Well, I have been I've been putting that Xbox Game Pass to pretty good use. I think we briefly talked about it last week, if I recall.
We did. Let's talk about it again, though.
Yeah, man. So there's a lot of indie games on there that I've been really interested in checking out, and a lot of stuff that I've had on my Steam list, for quite some time on the PC side, or stuff that I've been kind of waiting for, like the right moment to purchase.
Mm-hmm.
And with this Ultimate Game Pass, so now I have access to the PC stuff as well as the console stuff. So I've been playing like 4 different games. I started this one game called Moonlighter, which is, it's just not even really sure how to explain it. It's kind of like a roguelike dungeon crawler / store game. Basically, you go into a dungeon, you try to find your way through, you kill a bunch of enemies, you loot them, and then you go back to a shop that you own, and you sell the goods, and you have to micromanage how much they're selling for, supply and demand, upgrades to the store, upgrades to your town, which can then in turn help you in the dungeons, things like that. It's a top-down kind of, I would say same as like the original Zeldas, that kind of look.
Okay.
And it kind of plays similarly too, like you're running around with a sword, swinging at things. It's fun, not a bad game. Definitely worth, I think, checking out if you have an opportunity. I don't know how much shelf life it's going to have, but I've been enjoying it.
Good.
I started playing a game called Surviving Mars, which is a strategy game. And I started it on the Xbox, but it's really a PC game. So I stopped at cold turkey and I went over to the PC side and started playing it over there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like a trying to think of the words. Basically, you're establishing a colony on Mars and you have to survive.
I like this.
As if it wasn't like, plain from the title. And I haven't spent a lot of time with it. I only kind of went through the tutorials and a little bit of gameplay, and you're searching for mineral deposits. You're building your colony. You build a biodome. You start bringing people in. The people start working. Sometimes they go fucking nuts, and one's an alcoholic. One's panicking because the airlock blew open. Shit like that. And you're basically just kind of reacting to situations while continually trying to improve your colony. And expanding, and it's fun. It's kind of a relaxing game for me.
Sure,
been enjoying that. Vic and I actually started playing the campaign on Gears of War 4, which has nothing to do with Game Pass, but he talked me into starting the co-op campaign with him, which I never got around to doing with Gears 4. So we fired that up a couple days ago and we played through the first act, and man, I forgot how much fun those games can be.
Yeah, it's nice when you can kind of venture back into like a co-op game, even if it's like a co-op campaign kind of situation. I've done that before with a couple buddies, and it's sometimes it's just it's a lot of fun. And it always seems to happen like out of nowhere. Like you never really plan for it. You're just like, you know what? Let's just fucking do this, or like I just want to play something co-op.
I think it might have had something to do with our discussion last week when we were talking about Gears of War 5. I might have dropped that I had never gotten around to beating 4, and he's like, dude, let's do it. And I had gone through the first 3 games with him and his brother, and we had a great time playing those. So this was just second nature. Like let's jump in, let's play some Gears. And like even though I haven't played the game in I haven't played a Gears of War game in forever. Years. The controls are just so familiar.
Yeah, it's so you didn't have like a hard time kind of getting back into the swing of things with that?
The first time I reloaded, it was an active reload. It was just like, I just nailed it. I'm like, oh yeah, this feels good.
Wow.
It took me a little while. Like, the only problem I have with that type of game, and a lot of shooters, really, especially when all the colors are the same, I have a hard time distinguishing enemies from background.
Sure. Yeah, that's a real thing.
Yeah, so that was an issue for me. But outside of that, I think it was pretty much second nature.
Okay, that's cool.
I also started playing Bridge Constructor Portal, which is just an absolute blast. They got the person who voiced GLaDOS to come in and re-record like a whole bunch of new audio for it. And, you know, basically you're building these bridges to get your test subjects from point A to point B, just like a regular bridge constructor game, except there's portals in it. So they're kind of, you know, bouncing all over the stage, and there's that sense of humor that Portal, you know, comes with.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fun.
That's cool, man. Yeah, it's nice to hear that they brought back, you said the voice actor for GLaDOS?
Yeah, I can't remember her name, but she's in it, and, you know, it's just, everything just drips with sarcasm. It's perfect. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that covers it all.
That's kind of a lot, man. Like, what a sort of spring out of nowhere, you know?
Well, there, you know, I had one day last week where I was just like, you know what? This is my day. And I didn't do shit.
Besides game.
Except game. I needed a day to myself, and I took it. And it was great.
Smart, man.
So hopefully I'll have an opportunity to do that again soon.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, sometimes it's better to just kind of do what you did instead of planning, like, okay, I'm going to play Horizon, or I'm going to play this. Like, sometimes it's best to just kind of wing it, and you get more of a rewarding, satisfying feeling from just kind of winging it instead of planning everything. And I think that's what kind of prevents some of us that have large backlogs in terms of playing something, because you're thinking too much about what you want to play. Just fucking load up whatever feels right.
And that's one of the benefits of the Game Pass subscription. Like, I mean, I already had a copy of Gears of War 4. That is included with the Game Pass, but had nothing to do with it. Like, I was going to play that sooner or later anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, Moonlighting, never would have picked that up. Never would have even looked at it. I saw it on the list. I'm like, why not? Let's check it out, you know? And like, I'm really excited about firing up Ori and the Blind Forest. I'm really excited about firing up Hollow Knight at some point. So there's a lot of great games on there. And then, like, I haven't even really begun to explore the PC side of things. I know I have, access to, Surviving Mars, but I haven't really looked at any other PC games besides that. And I don't do a lot of PC gaming right now, but when I do, it's almost exclusively strategy gaming. And man, if there's some great strategy games on the PC side, oh boy, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm sure that there are a lot of strat games on consoles, I would imagine, but I feel like they're best for PC just because you need the mouse and you need the keyboard. It's very much, point and click, like Command & Conquer, Age of Empires, all of that kind of stuff, Civ. Those games, I think, are just, they're just meant for PC. They're meant for a goddamn mouse.
That's exactly why I stopped playing Surviving Mars on the Xbox too, because it is designed to work with a controller. The dual analog sticks help, but like I'm drilling down into menus, and it's like, okay, press the A button, hit left 3 times, press the right button, and I'm like thinking to myself, this is probably a hotkey on the keyboard.
Yeah,
and sure as shit it is. So things that were cumbersome and taking me 5, 6, 7 steps to do, I'm able to do in 1 or 2 because of the mouse and keyboard setup.
Yeah, I'm sure you remember, and I'm sure they probably still make mice like this. But do you remember, like, back, I don't know, like late 90s, early 2000s, when they had like the mice that were weighted, where you could like change the weights out and shit?
Yeah, you can still buy those.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've always I've always wanted one of those, and
Corsair makes a pretty nice one, actually.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're meant for if you're going to snipe or if you're playing a certain game that requires just less of a sensitivity and less movement,
Hmm.
then it's definitely the right way to go. And I agree with with Joe Rogan. He's a very big, what's the right word? I can't think of the word, but he's a big supporter of mouse and keyboard setups when it comes to like
Hmm.
shooters, especially like Doom and Quake. He's a big Quake player.
Really?
Yeah, huge Quake player, and he loves to kind of rant on about how he believes that the only way to play those games is with a mouse and keyboard. And I pretty much agree with that. I think there's something very special and unique about that setup with certain games.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree that the mouse and keyboard is the better way to go for most first-person shooters. The problem that I end up having is they start to hurt my hands after a while.
Mm,
I have issues with carpal tunnel, and when I'm doing like a WASD kind of thing, it goes right up the middle of my hand, and so that becomes a problem for me, long term. For some basic gaming, quick things here and there, it's not so bad. But if I'm going to spend any kind of time with a shooter, it's actually more comfortable for me to use a controller, even though I'm taking a hit in, maybe my competitive edge or my aiming skill overall. I want to be comfortable. And like even when Vency and I were playing Sins of a Solar Empire on the regular a couple months back, after the second night, like I had to start wearing a hand brace on my mouse hand because
really?
my hand was starting to hurt like hell.
Huh. Well, I mean, you said you have carpal tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely gonna
Yeah.
get to the root of the problem there.
Right. And I mean, this isn't something that like I'm interested in having surgery on. So I'm just going to kind of grin and bear it. It doesn't affect me on a daily basis all that often. So I'm just going to man up and deal with it and work around it, you know?
Yeah, it's all you can do. I'm pretty sure Tom has a little bit of that as well from just working on computers for years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's how it started.
Yeah,
So let's see here. So I think that covers everything I had. Let's hit the mailbag, shall we?
let's do it.
Speaking of Vancy, at Lost Monkey says, what do you guys think about Hollywood actors in video games? I, for one, have a boner for Keanu in Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, this is a pretty hot topic. I know we kind of touched on it on the last show,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got everybody hyped. And
Yeah.
I think people were hyped about the game before they introduced Keanu Reeves, but everybody now is just going apeshit because, like we said last time, Keanu has made a significant comeback
Mm-hmm.
from his years of being scrutinized as a horrible actor, and
Yeah.
he's still kind of bad, but I think that people have moved on from that, and they've understood basically that he's not really meant for certain roles, and the roles that he plays now are perfect. And I think people have always wanted to see him do an action flick like John Wick, and I think that's really why he's receiving so much attention because he's so good at it, and he's just got such a cool persona. So. I mean, to kind of answer the question, I can't think of a lot of Hollywood actors that are in video games. I can think of that game L.A. Noir. There was
Mm-hmm.
a dude, the guy that plays like the main character was in Mad Men. I mean, I know that,
Oh,
but
Josh Ham? Was it?
no, that's John Hamm.
John Ham, sorry. I'm
But
thinking of, there's a musician that name, I think.
oh, okay. But yeah, I can't just off the top of my head, man. I can't think of any Hollywood actors in video games.
It's not really something that crosses over all that often. I think there's still a stigma in Hollywood for appearing in a video game.
Yeah,
Video games are really struggling, I think, to gain proper level of notoriety.
sure.
For the entertainment value that they provide as an alternate medium, and they're getting there. I mean, every year is better and better and better, and as the graphics improve, things are becoming more visual. Where you can put a guy like Keanu Reeves in a game and he looks like Keanu Reeves, but it has not been an easy path.
No, it
It's
doesn't seem
taken a
that
long
way.
time. I'm okay with it if it's done tastefully. Like I really don't want to see I'm trying to think of like the biggest name in Hollywood right now. The Rock is probably the biggest name.
Yeah.
And I like The Rock, so I can't even talk shit about him. But I'm not sure that I want him in my video games. Like I think if it offers like a narrative, I think it's great. But all right, here when it gets down to it, once you start bringing in a lot of Hollywood names, then you're going to be increasing the budget for the game, and because you're going to have to get paid. And if that, first of all, it runs a risk of increasing the price of the game. Secondly, what's being sacrificed in the budget to pay for that actor or actress?
That's a really, really good point.
If we're giving The Rock $2 million per day, or I don't know what his wage is, but let's say they're giving him $100 million or something to appear in a game. All right, where's that $100 million coming from, and what's being sacrificed for it?
Right. Yeah, no, that's a really good point, and it's something that I think a lot of people probably overlook. Again, I can't really think of anybody that is a Hollywood actor in a game. There probably are some, but I agree. I don't know if I really want that. I don't want The Rock. I don't want Brad Pitt. I don't want those guys like in video games. I'm not saying that they don't have a place there, but I don't know, man. I just feel like it's I don't know.
Also, while we're talking about this, I thought about Destiny and Peter Dinklage being the voice of Ghost in the original one.
That's right.
And like for a game like that, where it's a consistently growing world, where you need to be able to do new voices, they ended up scrapping all the parts and re-recording everything with Nolan North, who's a highly respected voice actor in the video game industry. And I thought about that too, because like a guy like Nolan North has done probably hundreds of video game voices at this point. And he's a guy that's in the industry. This is how he makes his living. He doesn't make a living on camera, as far as I'm aware of. And a guy like Peter Dinklage is potentially taking away from a voice actor's paycheck.
That's true. I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's that, and it's also what you mentioned before. Is it worth paying out the ass for some of these like really A-list actors to be in a game, even if it's a small role? Because he played, you said it was the Ghost, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure that cost the Bungie or whoever, probably quite a bit of money to get him to do that.
Yeah.
I don't think it sacrificed, necessarily, how the game was and how it played. But in some cases, depending on who they hire and what they have to pay, it might. So that's why I feel like maybe it's not the best to try and bring, Leo DiCaprio on for, Dark Souls or whatever the fuck it might be.
All that said, though, I am excited about Keanu being in Cyberpunk.
Who isn't? I
think he's the right actor for that role because of his body of work. Like, if you think about it, back to like Johnny Mnemonic, like he's been doing cyberpunk movies for decades.
Yeah, he has been.
So
I think that's why people went so apeshit. It's not so much just because it's Keanu Reeves. I mean, a lot of it is, but I think a lot of it is what you said as well. This is the right fit, and people are like, "Oh my God, he's in Cyberpunk!" Like it just makes so much sense, and people harken back to the Matrix and like you said, Johnny Mnemonic, and even stuff like Constantine and shit like that.
Yeah. And plus, he's just a really cool fucking dude.
He is a cool dude, man. And he is, like I said last time, he's on top of the world right now.
Yeah. Lost Monkey also says, one of the trailers that piqued my interest was 12 minutes. Did you guys see it? If so, lay on me some thoughts. We talked about this game last week. And this is the top-down Groundhog Day kind of thing.
Yep.
I can't wait for this. This is going to be fucking cool.
It does look neat. I checked it out briefly, I think, last time, and I like a lot of the top-down stuff. I think that it serves its place for Sunday rainy days. I know I've mentioned that before in different shows, and, I don't know. I think it's charming.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, this kind of screams like strategy. And, I mean, that's just my wheelhouse for games. I fucking love strategy games. So I'm really, really looking forward to it. I think the story is going to be cool. I think it's going to be a clever concept, and I don't know where it's going to take us, but I'm there right from day one.
Mm-hmm. So that might be our pre-order.
I don't know if it's going to be a pre-order. if they start doing like pre-release reviews and the reviews are good, I'll jump on it as a day one purchase. But if it's, I need to see some reviews first because I need to know whether or not I'm going to be playing this on the computer or on the Xbox, and that really depends on the controls. If I can play it on my Xbox, I will. If it's part of that Game Pass, that's pretty cool too. I'll be happy with that. But otherwise, like this game as a top-down kind of thing, which I interpret is going to be strategy, like I'm thinking Steam.
Okay.
So in which case I'll probably end up waiting for one of their million sales and buy it for like $7.99.
Sure.
Yep. Let's see here. Pucksaur asks, to break the E3 combo, I'm traveling this week and have my non-gaming travel laptop and a Switch. What do you bring on trips, hardware-wise, and what games or what kinds of games do you prefer to play? Does this change for business or family/fun trips?
That's a good question.
Well, you're going to be taking a trip pretty soon. Tell me about, are you planning on bringing your Switch with you or anything?
Probably not, just because the trip that we're making is only like 2 hours. We're going to upstate New York to visit Tom, who's been on the show. And no, I'm probably not going to bring anything just because it's too short of a trip and we're going to be hanging out like in real time. So we're probably not going to do too much gaming.
Do you anticipate that you'll be doing any gaming together while you're up there, or maybe using his hardware?
Yeah, he has like pretty much everything. He's kind of like us, we kind of just buy everything because we're just fucking crazy. But but yeah, no, he has a Switch, he has PS4, he has like all that stuff. So for portable stuff, there's just no incentive on this particular trip. When I went to Vegas this year, I definitely brought the Switch, and I don't think I even turned it on. So I think, given the fact, does it change for business or family fun trips? I would say so for the most part. If I think about that carefully, I don't know if I would bring specific games for business and specific games for family or fun, but maybe I would. I guess it depends because like if it's family fun and you're trying to get other people to play it with you, then yes, I think it would change what game you want to bring or games.
Yeah. And the few occasions that I've had opportunities to travel for business have kind of been a mixed bag with like how much free time I've had. It's rare that I'll have an opportunity to just kind of wander off and just chill in my room by myself for a while. I'm usually either working with the clients or going out to dinner with the clients, or if we're done, the crew will go and enjoy the town that we're in. So we don't have a lot of downtime on our own. So for me, like I remember like bringing my 3DS with me, and I grabbed a couple games. I don't even remember what games I had. I had a carrying case, and it holds like 3 or 4 games. I think it just took whatever was in there. And I didn't play it. I didn't play it at all. Just because my time was not really my own, and I really didn't have any means of kind of sneaking away to game. Like that's not my focus. That wasn't my focus while I was away.
Yeah.
When I go on, traveling for pleasure, if we're going to a destination, I'm going to the destination.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I want to enjoy why I'm there, and I have to consider the other people that I'm with. If I'm by myself, it's one thing, but if I'm traveling with Nikki or friends or whatever, like I'm not there to bury my head in a 3DS.
Yeah, no. I find that overall, bringing some kind of portable device with you seems to be perhaps more rare because people are thinking about, the trip and getting there, and not so much about what do I do in between the time of me leaving and getting there. Right. It's just changed overall. I think a lot of portable gamers are generally commuting. It's a regular thing. Whereas if you go on a trip, it's so seldom. I think for most of us now that when you go, like I said, you're just thinking about like, oh, all right, I'm just pumped up. I'm not trying to think of what can I do or what can I game with to fill the time. Yeah, I agree. He also asks, when you're choosing your seat on Southwest, how do you know if the person you're sitting next to is ready for some Smash Brothers? Oh boy. Well, first of all, you give them the look and you give them that nod, like, hey, you want to fight? You give him that kind of like side smirk.
Yeah.
So you smile out, just one side of your face smiles.
Yep. And then you notice a Kirby tattoo on his right tricep.
Yeah.
And then you just, flash a little controller.
I just thought of, can you imagine if you winked and you just go, want to smash? Holy shit.
Oh, God.
That would be awful. And then the guy's like, excuse me, can I move my seat? And you're like, no. I just asked if you wanted to play Smash Brothers. I didn't mean to wink at you, sir. I'm sorry. He's like, that's okay, dude. I'm still moving. I'm still moving my seat, dude.
Oh, that's so fucking funny. Oh, God. On that note, if you ever have any questions, comments, hit us up in the mailbag chat in our Discord room, which link will be available for you in the show notes. Stop on by, say hello, talk some games with us, send in your questions, comments, hate mail, all that fun stuff, and we'll talk about it on the air. So,
yeah.
So, Will, let's talk about E3, the second half. So, just a kind of a quick introduction to this. I watched the Nintendo Direct E3 presentation. I did not watch any of the other ones in their entirety. But I've seen clips from the stuff I had the interest in. And I got to say, even though like it was made painfully aware that Nintendo was going to be doing a Nintendo Direct, I still expected a press conference, and I was extremely disappointed when there wasn't one.
Yeah, I heard that they just kind of did like a usual sort of streaming thing, right? Like a pre-recorded show.
Absolutely,
now,
100%.
If I'm sort of aware of this correctly, don't they do that like almost every year? Or am I just like making this up? Or they've done it like maybe the past year?
I don't remember what they did last year.
I'm pretty sure like I watched the video and it said something like, and as usual, Nintendo did a, what they called, like the Nintendo Direct show, which is like a pre-recorded thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember them doing a Nintendo Direct 2 years ago.
Okay.
Maybe they did one last year, but I don't have that answer.
Okay. Yeah, it's not a big deal.
But yeah, I mean, they were just rapid fire trailer after trailer. They did a cute little introduction bringing in Doug Bowser, which I thought was clever. And outside of that, I mean, it was just, rapid fire trailer after trailer after trailer with really no interruption. They showcased a lot of games. And as somebody who's not like a Nintendo guy, so to speak, I found myself kind of overall underwhelmed.
Well, they didn't announce that much from what I understand, right? I mean, we had Luigi's Mansion 3,
yeah,
Link's Awakening,
yeah,
a couple others that were worth noting, I suppose. But as far as I know, it wasn't too much.
There was a lot of stuff that was showcased. In the notes that I left for us, I tried to pick out the stuff that I thought would interest you and I.
Yeah.
But let me see if I can find E3 lineup. Oh, this doesn't give me any information at all. Maybe it's this one. Here we go. Oh yeah, so they did like Animal Crossing. All right, here's a link for you in our planning chat. And I mean they put out a lot of content. Like this is an extensive list. And I now that I'm going through it, like I even see shit that I missed, like Bayonetta 3, Ukulele,
Oh, they did mention Bayo 3?
Yeah.
Oh. Did they like show anything or?
I don't even remember.
Okay.
Because it was like, honestly, man, it was like one thing just blurred into the next.
Well, it's kind of like that thing that didn't Vic send that thing out that said like E3 video games. Everybody's like, oh, video games.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that sometimes.
It can be, it definitely can be. But man, I mean, what stood out to you from what you saw
from Nintendo?
Yeah,
I would say probably the Link's Awakening stuff. because like when that trailer or teaser was first released, I mean, I was pretty hyped because I really liked that game, and I feel like it's a very underrated Zelda. A lot of people refer back to A Link to the Past a little bit too much. I mean, it's a great game, but Link's Awakening it's nice to see something different come out of the woodworks. And then I would probably say the sequel to Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
Even though I haven't finished the first game, I've barely even put a dent into it, actually. I am kind of curious, and I'm kind of impressed that they're making a sequel that quickly. I mean, granted, it did come out a little while ago, but still, I mean, that was a massive game, and it's cool to see that they're still going to kind of continue with that.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, like Zelda games, I feel like they take forever to come out. So I would say those two. I want to say there was another one. I mean, Astral Chain, I'm definitely pretty hyped for, and that's a Switch game. Yeah, I guess those three. I thought there was something else, but
there was No More Heroes 3 looked pretty cool. I forgot about that one. I'm just like going through this list here.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a quick gander.
There's so much stuff. Like, they made a big deal about Luigi's Mansion, and I know a lot of people are huge fans of that game. I have a copy of it on my GameCube that's just sitting there waiting for me to give it a try. And I don't know, like when I was watching this Nintendo Direct, just in general, I've been talking about buying a Switch since we've been doing the podcast, right? And it's been a topic of conversation about how I can't wait to get one finally. I've been saving up my Best Buy bucks. I'm going to buy it, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm watching this trailer and I'm starting to have second thoughts. Or, the Direct, the Nintendo Direct. I'm thinking to myself, maybe a Nintendo Switch is not for me. Because I felt like everything that they were showcasing was geared towards Nintendo fans. And that's fine. Like, I'm not criticizing Nintendo fans. But I just felt like maybe that just wasn't my type of game anymore. Luigi's Mansion, the trailer for that just made it seem like super kiddie. And at 36 years old, I just don't have interest in playing something that's super kiddie.
Right.
Now there's a place for that. Families, I know there's going to be people in our room that are really excited about that game. And that's fine. I'm not criticizing their preferences or their choices, but it just made me like really kind of second guess myself. And then, they showed, what the hell was it? So they showed that. They showed like Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. I could give two shits about that. I don't care about Pokemon. I don't care about Super Mario Maker. I'm still struggling to find a Zelda that I like. I haven't played Breath of the Wild, so I didn't give two shits about the announcement of the Breath of the Wild sequel.
Yeah, that's fair.
Link's Awakening looks cool, but again, like I haven't found a Zelda that I've fallen in love with. So right. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to take a chance on it. And I'm going to get bored. Yeah. And I'm kind of like Animal Crossing can go fuck itself. I hate that game.
Yeah. You want to talk about like a kid's game. That's it, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Cadence of Hyrule looks cool. If you're into like rhythm games and like this like mashup of rhythm and Zelda, like I think there might be something clever to that worth trying, but like nothing like jumped out at me that screams like you must own this game.
Yeah, and that's kind of a common problem I feel like with Nintendo for me, you, and quite a lot of other people. Some people get hyped on Smash Brothers stuff, which I still don't really get, but that's just because I'm not a fan.
Well, just to interject real quick, they did announce that Banjo-Kazooie is going to be in the new DLC for Smash.
Yes.
Which I don't care so much about the character, but the implications of that being that Rare, which is owned by Microsoft, is allowing their character in a Nintendo game, that's fucking cool, and I'm glad it's happening, and we need more of that.
It is, and I agree. I did watch a video. I don't know if you saw it, but there was like a video of some people watching the announcement, and the room just went absolutely apeshit. It was kind of like the Justin Wong, like Daigo moment that we've all seen a million times. It was like that, but like times 10, which is saying a lot. They were just crazy hype. And I mean, I loved those games like Banjo-Kazooie, like for 64 and stuff. Those games were great. And Rare is a great studio, or I guess kind of was, right?
Well, I mean, they're still making stuff, like they just, their product is now hidden under the Microsoft umbrella for all its,
Right. They're being
pluses
kind
and
of shadowed.
minuses. Yeah, so if you don't have an Xbox, you're not going to know Rare is doing shit. They made Sea of Thieves, which has been kind of a mixed bag,
Yes.
but there's been some improvements to it that I guess have really kind of taken the game to the next level. Now, I haven't tried it. It's in the Games Pass, so maybe I'll give it a shot. But
Well, there's also some titles on this list that are just, to me, extremely nonsensical. Like, why Resident Evil 5? Why Resident Evil 6?
yeah,
And Witcher 3 on the Switch? Like, I mean, what? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, that game is massive. It almost
right,
doesn't make much sense to put Skyrim on the Switch when they did. Like, I get
yeah,
it in some ways because people want to play like a lot of those side quests on the go,
yeah.
but it's just, I don't know, man. I just feel like some of these games should not be experienced on the Switch, and it pains me because I feel like the Switch is a very unique, special system, and if the right games hit it, then that thing will take off, and I think it could be something really special. But they're just, I don't know. There's a lot of good games, but I just
Yeah.
don't understand like the big AAA the AAA titles being on the Switch.
Right. Well, it's kind of a catch-22 because, you have Nintendo making Nintendo games, which are almost always guaranteed to sell, right? You know you're going to have a level of quality with those games. Whether it's your thing or not is another discussion. But like I know that Super Mario Maker 2 is going to be an excellent game.
Sure.
I'll never play it because fuck that game, but it's going to be an excellent game.
Yeah.
And then like part of the problem with I think the Wii U and I think there was a lot of discussion about Nintendo losing third-party support with the last console generation.
Yeah.
So they really are pushing to kind of bring in that third-party support, and unfortunately that means bringing in games like The Witcher or Resident Evil 5 and 6 just to kind of get a foothold on the system, I think. Because if you look at like the lineup of the past year, Nintendo is bringing in a lot of big AAA titles, and just because you have it on the PlayStation or I have it on the Xbox doesn't mean that the person who owns a Nintendo Switch has both of those systems and has already played it.
That's fair.
We're kind of stuck in a bubble, you and I and most of the people that are in our Discord room, because we have multiple systems. We have multiple ways of playing a lot of these games. But there are a lot of families that have one system.
Yeah.
And,
to them, that's a big deal. Like, it's a big deal that they even have a Switch. So when they see, like, The Witcher 3's coming, you probably have some people that are, like, crazy hyped.
Imagine that you're, you and your family, you have a couple kids, you buy the Switch for them so they can play Pokemon, right? But you don't have any time or money to game for yourself. You don't have a PlayStation, you have an Xbox, but you get to play around with the Switch when the kids go to bed. Well, now you can play The Witcher. And that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it is cool for the people that, are in those positions. But yeah, I think it's hard for you and I to digest it a little bit because we, I guess, are, I wouldn't say privileged. We just are a little bit more hardcore than your average gamer because we have multiple systems, multiple games, multiple ways to play it. Like the fact that I have like a desk setup and a 55-inch and I can just go back and forth, like, some people might look at that and be like, damn, this dude's kind of like spoiled. It's not that. It's just I have options and I want options. Right. And I just happen to have them. So, different strokes,
Yeah, I think that says it all. There were a couple things that jumped out at me, I think, about the Direct, though. There's a Panzer Dragoon remake coming out, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to that. I haven't played a Panzer Dragoon game in a while. Maybe I think I have on the original Xbox I have Panzer Dragoon, is it Orta? I'm trying to remember which one it is.
The actual like name of the new one?
Yeah, no, the one on the original Xbox.
Oh, I wouldn't even know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think it's it's Panzer Dragoon Orta. So that was the last time I played Panzer Dragoon game. It's a 2002 release.
I don't know if I've even played one.
It's good. It's good. I mean, they're rail shooters, so you're flying a dragon and you're just kind of shooting shit as it comes at you. But I don't know. It's something. Those games are inherently Sega.
Yeah,
that makes sense. You know what I mean? They're fun games. They're fun games. The other one that jumped out at me too was where the hell is it? Empire of Sin, which I did not realize was a John Romero game until about 10 minutes before we press record.
Well, it's funny because I saw like the studio logo, and I was going to say something to you, but I just automatically assumed that you knew.
Yeah, no, it totally just flew under my radar. And now I'm actually like super hyped about it because this looks like this really cool 1920s criminal strategy game, and apparently has some RPG elements in it. And you know what? Like now that I'm looking at like more screenshots, this kind of looks like XCOM.
Yes. XCOM mixed with Road to Perdition with Tom Hanks.
Yep.
And Mafia. You know, like it's so much wrapped into one. And I think that we were speaking before the show, like, what is this game about? What kind of Mafia game is it? And it seems, kind of RPG strategy based, especially like towards the end of the trailer when you kind of see the map sort of spinning off, and like it almost kind of reminds you of like maybe Monopoly or something like that. It just kind of, it's hard to describe, like, listeners or fans that end up watching this trailer will probably see what I mean. But I think that kind of gives it away. It's not going to be like a third person, like Mafia type game.
No. What else have we missed here? I'm just looking through the list.
Yeah.
I mean, that was about it for the Switch that jumped out at me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can move on.
Let's see here. Square had a gameplay reveal for Final Fantasy VII's remake. Very interesting stuff.
Yes.
Looks pretty cool. I don't know if I'm crazy about the like they're getting rid of the turn-based elements of the game, but they let you, but you can go into the turn-based elements.
Oh,
so it's like you kind of have that choice.
Okay,
but I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you. I think a lot of people are in that phase where they want to love this game, but they don't know how, because it, like I said before, it's such a precious game that it's you're tampering with something really special. So they better do a good job. It looks really good visually. The gameplay wise, it's still hard to tell like how this thing's really going to pan out. And then I heard today on the way home when I was listening to a video that I guess it's episodic, which is really concerning. And from what I understand, if this guy's correct, the release date that they announced is for like the first part of this game. And when I heard that, I was like, what? That's not good. Because if they are gonna, I don't know, take some kind of hiatus, or like we only get the first part and then we have to wait like another year or something. I don't know if they're trying to do it based on how the discs were. But that I need to look into that, because that does concern me. I feel like we've waited long enough. Give us the full game. Like, what's going on here? Like, is it a season pass thing? Like, I just give us a fucking full game.
So, I mean, this is kind of something that they've been talking about for a while. This isn't like, news.
Apparently, yeah, I forgot to mention that. Like, apparently this is not new with the whole episodic thing. Maybe I just missed that part.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. I guess it kind of depends on where the cutoff point is. Like, are they doing like per disc, or and what the price point is going to be?
Right. Maybe it'll be like 30 or 40. I don't know, but I don't know. If it plays out right, then maybe it won't be a problem. I just don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. We just have to kind of wait and see. But I'm hopeful and optimistic, but a little bit scared.
Yes. Yeah, I think everybody is, and the people that say that they're not are probably just in denial. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I just think that that's the reality. Like, no one, I don't think there's anyone looking at this game and saying, oh, this is going to be perfect. This is going to be absolutely perfect. Like, it's just too early to tell.
They also announced the Final Fantasy VIII remaster, which is a little bit more true to the original. They're just cleaning up the textures and the visuals of the game. Final Fantasy VIII is not a game that has a special place in my heart because I tried to get into it when it first came out and just could not. But I've always wanted to go back to it again. I've heard way too many people speak, highly of it.
Sure.
I was just really, I was so wrapped up in FF7 and how that game was not FF7.
Yeah, it's from what I could remember, and I don't remember playing 8. I remember seeing some of it, and I'm pretty sure they made quite a dynamic change from 7 to 8. And then 9, I know holds like a very special place in a lot of people's hearts.
Yeah, mine too.
Apparently the soundtrack in 9 is supposed to be amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, 7 I think is special because it really is very unique from all of the other ones. It kind of has a darker tone. The music is really, really special. And, you had the introduction of the materia system, I believe, with 7.
Yes, yeah. Well, I mean, Final Fantasy has done a pretty good job for the most part of kind of changing up their magic system from game to game.
Yeah.
So, this one, or materia was only used in 7 that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, I mean, it's something to keep on the radar.
Yeah, I think so. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. And of course, with all this stuff, price point's important to me too.
Yes, that's true.
So, let's see here. So that's about it for Square Enix. Over on the Bethesda side, we had Ghostwire Tokyo, which just kind of a teaser, not much in the way of like actual information about what the game is, but looks cool.
It looks very good too, like in terms of like graphics, like just you kind of see just people kind of on their phones or whatever. I saw just a quick video, and visually it looks really advanced. That was one thing I noticed. But yeah, this is Shinji Mikami, right? Guy behind Resident Evil.
I don't know.
I believe it is, which excites me because it's probably going to be fucked up and scary. Because those guys are fucked up and scary. But yeah, I love the name. The name is cool. But we just didn't see enough, so it's hard to tell. But it's definitely one to keep on the radar as well.
Yeah. There's also Deathloop, which also looks kind of interesting as well too.
Yes.
Not much about that I know about that game, but the trailer was pretty neat. Arcane Lion is the dev on this one, and it looks kind of like similar to 12 Days or 12 Hours or whatever the fuck it was. Yeah.
It looks very good, and CGI wise, and
I don't know. I said 12 hours,
days.
12 minutes, 12 days.
Yeah.
12 minutes is kind of similar to that, as far as like this whole Groundhog Day thing. That seems to be the theme of E3 is like Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what the deal is with that game too.
Yep.
Looks like a lot of guns, a lot of explosions, and in the press release they talk about exploring stunning environments and meticulously designed levels in an immersive gameplay experience, which says absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, that's a very generic, explanation of what this game could be.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Doom Eternal.
Yes, let's.
Boy,
you're pumped for this.
Oh man, I can't wait. I cannot wait. Man, they showed a lot more of that game than I was expecting.
Yeah, I feel like they did. Real gameplay, like not.
Yeah.
Let's just show like what's going on, or snippets. This was real gameplay.
I'm really excited about the multiplayer mode too.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I mean, I miss the days of Quake and things like that, so hopefully it'll kind of be reminiscent of that.
Well, actually, they're taking a different path. From my understanding, there's only going to be, like, they call it battle mode. It's not going to be like a regular deathmatch mode. And it's going to be one Doomslayer versus 2 demons.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was not aware.
Yeah.
So
it looks cool as fuck, man.
so is this going to be a PC game for you?
No, I'll buy this on the Xbox.
Okay. And
Yeah,
you're
this is going to be a, I need to see this in 4K.
okay. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the 2016 Doom played great on my TV. With just the regular Xbox. Then I had the Xbox One, and the controller scheme was perfect. I did not feel hampered by playing without a mouse and keyboard at all.
Sure. Well, good. But yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah.
If I start with this, that's fine. I might end up starting with Doom 2016, as most of you guys know by now. But if not, then this might be the one to start with. I mean, it just looks.
Hold on, didn't you buy 2016 last week?
No, I was thinking about it because it was a really good price, and it still is that price, mind you.
It's just fucking buy it, man.
I know. I most likely will, but just trying not to add. But yeah, this it looks horrifying, this game, but in a splendid way.
Yeah, I can't wait. I cannot wait. I'm gonna be like talking about that game for like weeks. You guys are gonna get sick of me. You're gonna unsubscribe.
Well, I think in a lot of ways, it's kind of like it kind of harkens back to Turok, because like this is one of the few games that still exists now where you have just cool guns and shit that don't really exist in any other kind of game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's got that arcade-ish, like non-realistic way of floating around the map and stuff. Your gun's just floating perfectly and stuff. Like, you got to have that with games still, because that's what makes this game fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I never thought about it that way. That's a good point. Let's see here. What else? Well, you had a couple games that you had picked out that you wanted to talk about, and I'm going to save my big moment for the end.
Sure. Carry On, I believe if I'm pronouncing that correctly, is a pretty cool looking game. It kind of has like a sort of like 8-bit, 16-bit kind of look to it, and it appears to be like a side-scrolling. I wouldn't say beat 'em up. It's like a side-scrolling like platformer, perhaps. It's very unique, but it kind of reminds me of, in some ways, that game Inside, and people might know what I mean. Like if they've ever played that game, towards the end, there's something kind of interesting that happens, and I don't want to spoil it, but this game just kind of reminds me of sort of the end of Inside in some ways. Of now I feel like I can't talk about the game, but it looks really good. Check it out. It's very interesting. You're playing something that normally I think you wouldn't play in most games, and maybe I'll just leave it at that. And then the other one was Blair Witch. I'm a big fan of the first movie, and I think that this game does a really good job trying to make the game a lot like the movie, and it looks terrifying, and I totally want to play it.
I was interested in that game until they came up with a Blair Witch logo, and I'm like, nope. and I know that's kind of like maybe unjust and unfair to the developers who've poured their heart and soul into building this game, but
right.
That property, the Blair Witch IP, is just it's dead to me at this point.
It's had such a weird run, like just a Blair Witch like idea, right? Like the first movie was gigantic, and then you had the second one, which was god awful, and then I'm pretty sure they did nothing after that. It just kind of died, and as far as I know, now we have this. So there's a big gap there, and I think when most people came across this announcement, they were probably just thinking, "Wait, what? No," or kind of like a Damien like pass sort of moment.
Yeah.
And kind of rightfully so, because it's a cult classic, that first film. It's not for everybody. It's only for fans. So I don't know. I think that it'll cater to mostly fans and maybe some new people. But I'm excited for it. I'm intrigued. That was definitely a takeaway for me, as well as Astral Chain. Spoke about that one many times before. I'm looking for kind of like the next big Switch game for me. And that might be it. And I love Platinum Games. So that's definitely going to be one to check out. And I think that's all I've got. There weren't too many takeaways this year for me, unfortunately. But I don't know. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say unfortunately. I'm really happy with some of the games that have already come out this year and some of the games I already have. And I'm very relaxed about gaming as a whole right now. And it's got nothing to do with my backlog. I think it's more to do with just the games that I'm currently playing. I'm content with, and I'm content with what's coming on the horizon.
I think that's a good way to put it. Depending on, what system you're maining, I guess you could say. I think everybody kind of came away with something for them at E3 this year. For me, the Xbox, I think, really did a great job of showcasing some great upcoming titles, some of which, are going to be on other platforms as well, too. But I'm super stoked about that. And then, Bethesda, I thought had a strong showing with Doom Eternal, which I'm super excited about. Cyberpunk, I've been excited about for a while, and this just kind of reinforced that. Basically, there's stuff on every system that I'm interested in. I just walked away from Nintendo's a little bit more disappointed than I expected to. And it kind of made me question things a little bit, but I don't think Nintendo did a good job of showcasing their indie games, and it's easy for me to forget just how many of those they have.
Well, that's just it, man. I think there's a lot of buried, sort of hidden gems that still exist, and I still think that the Switch is worth your while.
Yeah. Well, I was hoping for some kind of a hardware revision announcement too, and they didn't have that, although I guess there's some kind of a belief that there might be something in the next few weeks. So I'm not in a position to buy it quite yet. We're almost there. I can wait a little bit longer. But I'm looking to buy soon. We'll see.
I feel like there's so much more with those, hidden in those words than I think you let up.
Because I don't want to buy the fucking thing and then find out that there's a new model coming out that fixes the controller issues that they've had with the D-pad, or find out that there's, a better battery life model that's coming out at Christmas time. I've waited, this long, and if there's a new revision on the way, I'll wait until Christmas. I'll save up some more of those Best Buy bucks, and I'll, buy myself the fucking thing then.
I'll wait.
What?
Substitute teacher approach. Class is talking, they're being kind of rowdy. I'll wait.
Yeah, basically.
I'll wait. I'm kind of ready to buy soon, and I'll wait.
Exactly. But the greatest E3 announcement of the entire conference was the TurboGrafx Mini.
And why is that?
Because it's the fucking TurboGrafx Mini, Will.
Go off, man. Let it go.
Oh, man. All right, so I am super excited about this thing that nobody else has ever played, and I don't even give a fuck because I grew up with the TurboGrafx. I love it. I can see my games on my shelf right now, and they're already, and they've only announced 6 games so far, and, right off the bat, they're including games that are CD games. So that opens up a ton of doors right off the bat. The TurboGrafx was originally cartridge only. They call these little things called Hue cards. They're about the size of a credit card.
Yep.
And then there was an attachment that you could buy, just like a Sega CD, that connected to the top of the system and it played CD games. But in order to play the CD games, you also needed a specific type of Hue card, which kind of boosted the memory. And it's very difficult as a collector to find a combination of the Hue card plus the CD attachment. And it's a very expensive process. But they're including CD games on this Mini. And that's fucking cool, because it's going to help somebody like me who probably will never be able to afford those finally get to play these games. Emulation aside, of course. I have access to this shit on emulation.
Yeah.
It's not the same. I don't care what anybody says. You're wrong.
Damien.
But so they announced R-Type, which is like they're basically announcing like all these fucking great games that are identifiably TurboGrafx so far.
Yep.
R-Type, which is an awesome shooter, which is on more than one platform, but the TurboGrafx version was among the best ones. New Adventure Island, which is a pretty decent platform game. Ninja Spirit, which, if you've never played it, like, this game is fucking rad, dude. You're like this badass ninja, and you can like pick up these power-ups that duplicate yourself. You can run around with like basically 5 copies of yourself, slashing things, throwing ninja stars, dropping bombs, fighting these huge bosses. It has an amazing soundtrack. The graphics are incredible for an 8-bit, 16-bit game. Oh man, it is a blast. It was in the arcade. It's hard as balls in the arcade. It's hard as balls on TurboGrafx. And then you have RPG game, which is the CD game they've announced so far. Ys Book 1 and 2, which is spelled YS. I don't get it. Don't ask. But that's a game that I've never had an opportunity to play. I'm looking forward to checking it out. I think it's going to be fun. Dungeon Explorer, great game. Kind of like I don't want to say it's a Zelda clone because it's not, but it's that type of game. Where you're kind of dungeon crawling, picking up power-ups, getting stronger, blah blah blah.
Sure.
And then Alien Crush is like the fucking coolest pinball game that was never made on an actual pinball machine.
Okay.
The TurboGrafx has 3 pinball games. Alien Crush, Devil's Crush, and then I think the third one was Time Cruise. And Alien and Devil's Crush are just incredible games. People talk about pinball games on home systems. Those 2 games are in the conversation almost all the time. Really cool soundtrack. Just very, very unique art style. Really cool shit. I'm glad they're bringing them onto this console.
Yeah, this is exciting, man. I gotta say, I don't know much about the TurboGrafx because I just wasn't really around for it. I didn't have it. But I can say that I didn't see this coming because like
nobody did.
No one did. And I think that's what makes this so cool is like, who knew that they were going to go even further back? You know, we were expecting N64, Genesis, which we know is coming, shit like that. And then when this was announced, I knew that you were going to lose your shit.
The thing is like Konami bought the properties to Hudson Soft a while back.
Yeah. Konami.
Did I say it wrong?
Well, it's Konami.
Whatever. Fuck you.
Konami. Yeah. Gorlami.
Whatever. Konami. They bought the properties to Hudson Soft a while back, and with that came the entire TurboGrafx library, the hardware, etc. So I think most TurboGrafx fans kind of expected the system would go here to die. And it kind of came out of left field that they would be resurrecting it in this mini platform.
Yeah.
Plus, they're also doing regionalized ones too. So the TurboGrafx is one of those systems that, depending on what country you're in, it has a completely different name. So in Japan, it's called the PC Engine. In Europe, they had a release called Core Graphics. So there's these different models of it, and if you check out the variations that they're going to be releasing in the different areas, they're modeled after the system that was released in that country.
That's cool.
So like as a collector, there's an incentive for me to want to buy different ones. Now, so far they've only announced that the Japanese and the US versions will be different. They haven't indicated, games wise, that the US and the European version will be different. So that sounds like US and Europe are going to have the same games lineup, but all 3 are going to have different looks to them, which is really cool. But they already announced in Japan that it's going to have Castlevania Rondo of Blood. And that game is highly coveted by Castlevania fans because it's fucking incredible. And it was an insight into the direction that the series would be going forward.
That's cool.
Yeah. So one of the all-time best Castlevania games. Definitely recommend checking it out. It is frustratingly hard. You'll probably throw a controller, but man, it is great. And because it was a CD game, it had CD music, so the soundtrack is just like balls to the wall, like 90s metal guitar. It's fucking great.
Love it.
Yeah. But man, I'm super stoked about it. I've heard speculation that there's going to be support for 5 controllers, which, the TurboGrafx had 1 controller port, but it had a multi-tap adapter which supported 5 controllers for some reason.
Oh, cool.
So if you had a game like Bomberman, for example, or one of the 4 or 5 sports games that they had in the system, and you had 5 controllers, you could play with 5 people.
Wow. Yeah, those days are just over, and it would be so cool to kind of, bring that back.
Yeah.
Love it.
I can't wait. I am so fucking stoked. I'm going to be heartbroken if this is like just a shitty version of it. Like if they fuck this up, man. Yeah,
I mean, I suppose it's possible, but I just don't really see how it could be perhaps at this point. But, we have to wonder because I think the mini PS1 seems to be the biggest letdown out of everything that we've had so far in the mini world.
Yeah, and it's incredibly easy to hack, and people have done so and replaced all the issues with games that, weren't broken.
Yeah, that was pretty quick, too. That happened almost like overnight.
Yeah. Well, once you put a USB plug in something, it makes it pretty easy to get inside.
Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder that, like, how many people that are, like, really savvy with that stuff, when they got the PS1, they're like, all right, let's open this thing up. And they just fucking fixed it in, like, probably a couple hours, if that.
Pretty much.
Like, just nonchalantly, like, yeah, let's just open it up.
I mean, I guarantee you there's people that bought it just to hack.
Oh, yeah.
No other reason whatsoever.
Yeah, probably just eating like a Hostess cupcake like while doing it. Like that's how nonchalant they were about it. Like the cupcakes with like little white ribbons on the top.
I haven't had one of those in years.
Oh, dude, like me either, man. Like I really want one now.
Yeah, there you go. Let's go get Hostess cupcakes. and we're gonna regret our life choices afterwards.
Yeah, it's a weird amount of cream in the middle too. It's like this weird glob.
Yeah,
it's a glob of like just fake cream. Everything about that cupcake is fake.
Oh yeah,
everything.
They're horribly produced.
Horribly.
So.
Well,
man, I think that's it.
I think that is it. Stay away from Hostess treats. And make sure you wash your fruit. Have a banana.
Do you wash bananas?
Can you imagine if you did? But like when it's closed, you're washing the skin.
Yeah. I gotta scrub this thing clean before I eat it, and then fucking peel it.
I can promise you that somebody out there did that. And just like was just so naive and so ignorant to the fact that like it doesn't matter because like a banana is like one of those things that you can put on the roof of your car. Like people put bananas probably on the ground of an airport.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but I would put it down somewhere.
Well, I mean, it's in its own carrying case.
Yeah, it really is.
It's
protected. I mean, if you had a little cut in the banana peel, then that would be a problem. But
that's a little different.
That's a little different. I don't think people are getting like little paper cuts on their bananas. End the show. Let's end the show.
Oh,
Cut
God.
Me off.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Will, how can they find you on social media?
Will_gear. That was very
See?
No.
See? Evil.
You can barely say it. Especially God. if you say it and you imagine yourself writing it with like an orange crayon on like construction paper. That's what induces the laugh.
Oh, God. You can follow me at Science Storm. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at WDGRPodcast. Subscribe, like us, leave a review. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all the podcasts. Just download the show. Spread the word. Tell everybody you know about how awesome the show is or how much the show sucks. Because all opinions are valid, even if they're wrong. And we appreciate you listening.
Yeah, just type in Will and Drew and we will find you. Is that how it goes?
Go. I think so.
Oh, all right.
Oh, God. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
See ya.